had dark hair, but he was described as wearing a grey or dark coat, which was long thigh coat. That could be the same man who was seen running from Gowan Avenue, because the coat in particular is very similar. One of the witnesses saw a man climbing over the railings and onto the steps which lead down to the river. Who is that man? The witness does describe that man as wearing a royal blue wind cheater coat. Now that's certainly not the description of the man who was seen running from Gowan Avenue, which was a dark, waxy, barber type coat. So there is a possibility, a strong possibility, that man has nothing to do with this inquiry, and if that is the case, if he came forward, we could eliminate him very quickly.
And finally, there is a crucial witness at the bus stop in the Fulham Palace Road, opposite Bishop's Park.
He just caught my attention, I don't know why. And then as he got closer, I could see he was sweating on his face as if he'd been running. You get these impressions, you know what I mean? I mean, I wouldn't even throw my orange peel on the floor because he gave me that impression that he was a policeman. And I thought, if I throw it on the floor, he's going to tell me, right, pick that up, you know. All his collar was all wet, like he'd been sweating. He was about 5'9", 5'10". He had a slightly foreign-looking nose. He had a mark on his nose bridge, as if he wore glasses. I was left at the bus stop with this man, the woman with the 2 children, and somebody, I think it was another girl, who was just walking up towards the bus stop when it actually got there, 2:20. He never got on the 74. 2:20 came. I let the young lady with the 2 children get on there because she was like at the end of her tether because the kids were being really bad. As I let them on, I looked at him. There was no response from him. I got on the bus and we left him at the 2:20 bus stop.
The bus driver's records show that 4 people got onto that bus at the time the man who answers the EFIC got on. One of them was an elderly lady, one of them was a young man, 18, 19 years old. The bus driver can't remember the 3rd person. So there are definitely 3 other people who can come forward with information concerning this man.
Putney Bridge Station. Yeah.
We'd be interested to know what he was talking about. Did anybody hear part of that conversation? Was anybody annoyed by the phone ringing and someone suddenly started talking on the bus? Were you on that 74 bus? We would like to hear from you. All 4 passengers got off. Where did he go from there? At this stage, we don't know. We've examined CCTV footage from the Putney Bridge railway station. He can't be found on there at this time. Did he go in a taxi? Did he go in a car? Did a car come along and pick him up? Or did he walk away over Putney Bridge or down back into the Fulham Road? Did anybody see him? We would like to know.
Everybody associated with Jill in any way whatsoever finds it totally unbelievable that the tables are turned like this and we are actually in this absurd situation making an appeal on her behalf. The horrifying fact is that somebody has murdered the person that I had planned to spend the rest of my life with. Somebody has murdered a person who was so widely loved and respected by everybody she came across. It's impossible to comprehend that one is the victim of crime. Jill is the victim of crime, and we are all the victims of that crime by virtue of the fact that we are horrendously affected by what has happened.
Hamish Campbell, let's see how viewers can really help solve this. There are just so many sightings with so many people there. They can't all be involved in Jill's murder. Why haven't they come forward to be eliminated?
I think a lot of them believe that they've got nothing to contribute, that they were there innocently and therefore why should they come forward? But what I'm saying is it's essential they come forward because they help us determine the motive. Was there just one person involved in this killing or more than one? And as soon as everybody who was in that street comes forward, we can eliminate them and move the inquiry on.
Hamish, supposing they have reasons for not wanting to come forward, they're concerned about their anonymity. I'm thinking particularly, for example, of Range Rover drivers. And we
Yes.
know there must have been dozens of Range Rovers in that area at that time.
Yes.
We know the press has pointed out one of them was driving very badly. I mean, if I was that driver, would be reluctant to come forward. I'd fear a prosecution apart from anything else.
I can understand that, but there's no concern in relation to traffic offences or minor matters. The concern here is the murder of Jill Dando. So if they've been involved in minor traffic matters, forget that. Ring us, tell us where you were on that day, which Range Rover you were driving, and where you were.
That's a guarantee of immunity.
Absolutely.
And you want all Range Rovers in Fulham Monday the 26th of April in that morning.
Yes.
Now, it's pretty clear from that reconstruction that the guy walking and running down Fulham Palace Road was one person. I mean, all the witness statements
Yes.
seem to converge on that one description. And yet that description is different from the gunman. So the e-fit that you've issued, the man at the bus stop in Fulham Palace Road, may very well not be the killer.
That is possible. And certainly the man in the Fulham Palace Road was not wearing a coat, whereas the man in Gowan Avenue was. So there's a strong indication that they are two different people. The e-fit is of the man at the bus stop. People need to focus on that for who is that man. Is he the lookout? Was he another party to the killing? But our key concern is the man in Gowan Avenue.
But can we just stay with that man at the bus stop first?
Yes.
It is possible he was running down Fulham. People run down roads every now and then for entirely innocent reasons about having shot someone. It is possible he is watching and recognises himself.
Yes.
If he comes forward, he's going to have a hell of a time, isn't he?
Not at all, but if he comes forward and he has nothing to do with that incident, then we can speak to him and eliminate him. He might have been late for an appointment, late for a bus, or whatever. As long as he comes forward and we can push the inquiry on.
Again, can you guarantee him anonymity?
Yes.
Now, you've always maintained this the most difficult sort of inquiry for detectives, what do you call a 360-degree inquiry.
Yes.
Let's try and focus it so that people can help. On the one hand, there's the possibility it's a conspiracy involving several people.
Yes.
And on the other, there's the prospect that it's just one person. Let's just take the criminal conspiracy idea first. Again, how can people help now, viewers of Crimewatch?
It's important to remember that there's a large and substantial reward in this case. There's £100,000 from the Daily Mail, there's £50,000 from Crime Stoppers, where people can ring up anonymously and give us information. People need to ask themselves, as we have done, who has gained from this murder after 21 days?
What do you mean, who's gained?
Has someone gained financially? Has someone received money recently? Has somebody benefited in some way? Whether it's financial or emotional, there's a reason why Jill Dando was murdered, and people need to look now. Who has gained? What benefit has been achieved by this death? And come forward with any information. The reward money is there, it's substantial, and people need to think very, very hard tonight on what that is.
Of course, one line to that reward and one line the criminal fraternity can help with is to trace the murder weapon.
Yes.
Now, of course, guns can be acquired abroad. We all know that. But assuming, we can't make that assumption, but let's for the moment make it, that this gun was acquired in the United Kingdom.
Yes.
How would whoever mediated that sale recognise the weapon?
Well, there are two guns here this evening. And what we're saying is, this gun here, the 9mm Browning, the larger firearm, is not the weapon that was involved in the killing of Jill Dando.
Right, that's one that lots of newspapers and so forth have been portraying. It's not that.
Yes, it is this type of firearm. This is a 9mm short. Not only is the bullet shorter, but the whole weapon is smaller. It can be held in your palm of your hand, can be concealed in a pocket. People need to look now at this weapon. Have they recently handled this gun? Have they recently passed it on to somebody else? Have they disposed of it for somebody? Did they make arrangements before Monday the 26th of April to give this type of gun to somebody? There is the reward money. People need to look at this firearm and ring us tonight.
Much less common than the bigger weapons.
Considerably less common.
When these weapons are sold illegally, they're usually sold with ammunition. What sort of ammunition was used to shoot?
The ammunition that was used to shoot Jill Dando was 9mm short Remington manufacture. There was no suggestion that it was a dum-dum bullet. There's no suggestion that this firearm was fitted with a silencer.
So if somebody was involved in that sale, you're saying they can ring Crime Stoppers anonymously?
Yes.
Tell us the procedure about that. Supposing someone says, look, I want to get that £150,000 reward, but I'm not prepared to take the risk of prosecution for firearms offences.
If they ring Crime Stoppers and they've got real information to give us concerning this firearm or anything else, they will be given a security number, and it's that security number which will identify them with Crime Stoppers, not the police, and the information can be passed to them, which in turn will be given to us.
Now, we've been looking at the criminal conspiracy. Supposing it is just a loner,
Yes.
then again, how can people watching this programme help identify that now?
If it is a loner, I mean, it could explain